You hear that? It's a loud bird. Anyways, hey, so the other day my mom came to my house and she was really excited because she wanted me to see an herb that she used to um, eat in Mexico. So she grew up in Mexico, and you know, between her and I, we have been um, learning more about herbs, and then she shares with me like all of her knowledge. And you know, it's for a long time I don't know why, but I was kind of scared of looking into herbs or knowing what they meant. It's probably something I would have to unpack maybe in a longer video, but anyways, a few years ago, maybe a couple years ago, we started we always go on walks and we always noticed herbs and stuff. And so just between her and I, we started just noticing the different things that we'd see on our walk. And so when we did that, I ended up installing an app that would let me see what the different herbs were, what they were called, and then I could look them up and see if they were edible or what their spiritual meaning was. So the other day, like I said, she came to my house. We were out of town, so she was just checking the property, and she was cutting some weeds for me. And when I came back, she's like, I found this herb that I used to eat when I was growing up. And I was like, oh, what is it? And my Spanish isn't that great, so I'm going to say it the best way I can. And of course, if you're Mexican or, I don't know, Latina or Latin, you probably have heard of it. But it's called Verdolago. Or, sorry, Verdolaga. Verdolago. Anyways, um, also in English, it's called common purslane. And I don't know, I find it really interesting when she shares this knowledge with me, because it makes me feel a little bit more closer to her and to my heritage, because you know, I grew up, I'm American. I grew up here in America, so you know, sometimes I feel like I don't want to say belong. I don't know if that's the right word, but sometimes I feel like I'm not that connected to my heritage other than being American, and my Mexican heritage. I feel very far removed from it sometimes. And, well, anyways, I'll get into a deeper conversation here in a second, but I wanted to show you guys first Verdolaga, the common purslane herb, real quick. So this is the side of my house. She was cutting up some weeds, and you can kind of see if you can see my hand. Right there, she was cutting up those weeds. And she goes, Jennifer, look, the verdolaga. And I was like, what is that? I had never even heard of it. But you can see it right here. Common purslane. And these are actually edible. I haven't eaten them yet. I was still a little, I don't know. I'll try it out soon. I just wanted to show you guys what it looked like, and I'll probably cut off a piece and put it into my apothecary, so I have it and I know now. So if I ever see it in the wild somewhere else, I know what I'm looking at. Alright, so I just wanted to show you that real quick. Well, you know, she showed me another one too. Oh, sorry, that's my cat. Let me see if I can. I don't know if it'll let me switch. Let me see if you can see her. All right, anyways. So common purslane, or in Spanish, Verdolaga, um, it actually is high in omega-3s. And it's kind of funny, like the synchronicity of it, because I had recently gone to my doctor, and he had run a test of cholesterol. I think it's called like a lipid panel. And we were looking at the different numbers, and we were looking at the HDL number, and it was kind of low for me. And I was telling him, okay, doc, do I need to eat more fish? I'm not really a fish eater, but I'll eat it if you feel that, it'll increase my numbers. And he goes, you can, but sometimes fish, really the omegas are in the skin of the fish, and most people don't eat their fish that way. And I was like, okay. But he said make sure you drink your omega-3 pill, and then I also told him like maybe oatmeal, because I do like oatmeal. And anyway, so my mom had showed me that plant, and it ended up being high in omega-3s, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. Well, like I said, I haven't eaten it yet, but I just found that really interesting. So anyway, sorry, I got distracted there for a second. I wanted to show you my cat again. You can see her. Her name's Reese. Anywho, well, yeah, so I just wanted to share that story, and how interesting the synchronicity of it was, that plant showed up in my yard. I don't know, I've been getting a lot of different herbs and plants that have been showing up in my yard. That one in particular, Verdolaga, or common purslane. But there was also something else that I was thinking about. So I don't know, like, it's kind of personal, but as I was mentioning earlier, like, sometimes I feel disconnected from my heritage, especially growing up here in America. And so my mom was raised in Mexico, and so she was kind of raised on like the Texas border. So even her, she has told me in the past too that, like, a lot of the Mexican culture and Mexican heritage, she doesn't feel that close to it either, because, being so close to the Texas border growing up, she, all her identity or her culture was more, she always tells me it was probably more Tex-Mex than anything else. So, that is far removed from, like, if you go to deeper parts of Mexico and everything. So, but either way, so I enjoy whenever I'm able to look at herbs, or when she shares her stories with me, because it makes me feel a little bit more connected to my heritage. And I had also looked up the common purslane on Google to see if other people made it, and there was all sorts of recipes. Like, I think a lot of people make the verdolaga with pork, so it's like green chili pork with verdolaga, or they make a salsa with it, and it can be really healthy. So I thought that was interesting. And I also wanted to mention that, so all that energy that happened or is happening in Aries, so that winds up in my 4th house. And I was kind of wondering, like, what what can it bring for me in my fourth house? And if you know your astrology, fourth house is like ancestry, your home. I think it can even be realty, which, I, sorry, my son, we bought this house right here that I'm living in. We bought it once that energy, once, I think when Saturn moved into Aries, we started the process of buying this home. So I have been kind of using this energy to kind of go back into my ancestry a bit, and it's been really interesting. I think about like all of my mom's side, like her grandma, which would have been my great grandma, and then my grandma, like she shares these stories with me on like how they used to cook food or what herbs they would make, and I don't know, I find it really interesting. So I just wanted to share that with you guys real quick. And have you looked in your yard to see if there's anything in there that you can find edible or just curious about? And of course, I do grow regular herbs. I have mint in my garden as well, so and catnip. I have catnip as well, which this little kitty loves. She loves the catnip. Let's see if I can get this on her. Anyways, crazy Reese. Well, that's all I really wanted to share with you guys. So hopefully it's probably a little bit of a long-winded video, but I hope you find it interesting. And let me know if you've looked at your garden, if you've noticed any different types of herbs growing in there or anything like that. And if you've tried them or if you've looked anything up. But anyways, alright guys, don't forget, every layer you uncover changes how you see everything. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.